At one point, this was the second most popular program in the Maritimes after Don Messer's Jubilee was cancelled. And this was number two behind Hockey Night in Canada on 5 days a week. Probably one of the best live soap operas ever. Of course, we have to be talking about that great, great show, The Edge of Night. Now, it debuted on CBS April 2nd, 1956, and ran as a live broadcast on the network for most of its run until November 75. The series then moved to ABC, where it aired from December 1st, 75 until December 84. 7,420 episodes were produced, of which some 1,800 are available for syndication. Now, it was created by Irving Vendig and produced by Procter & Gamble Productions, and it's considered neo-noir as a television mystery crime drama series. Now, writer Sir P.J. Woodhouse, actress Betty Davis and Tula Bankhead, as well as Eleanor Roosevelt were all reportedly devoted fans. The Edge of Night, whose working title was The Edge of Darkness, premiered in April 56 as one of the first two half-hour serials on television, the other being As the World Turns. Prior to the debuts of both shows, 15-minute-long shows have been a standard. Both programs aired on CBS, sponsored by P&G. Now, the show was originally conceived as a daytime television version of Perry Mason, which was popular in novel and radio formats at that time. Mason's creator, Erie Stanley Gardner, was to create and write the show, but a last-minute tiff between the CBS network and him caused Gardner to fully support from the idea. CBS insisted that Mason be given a love interest to placate daytime soap opera audiences, but Gardner refused to take Mason in that direction. Gardner eventually patched up his difference with CBS, and Perry Mason debuted in primetime in 57. In 56, a writer from the Perry Mason radio show, Irving Vendig, created a retool idea of the show for daytime TV, and The Edge of Night was born. John Larkin, radio's best identified Perry Mason, was cast as the protagonist star, initially as a detective, eventually as an attorney, in a thinly veiled copy of Perry Mason. Now, unlike PM, whose adventures took place in Southern Cal, the daytime series was set in the fictional city of Monticello, located in the Midwestern United States. Of course, Monticello, Maine, for everybody in the Maritimes, we know where that is. A frequent backdrop for the show's early scenes was a restaurant called the Ho-Hi-Ho, better known as Ohio, the state of Ohio. The state capital, however, was known generically as Capital City, the state in which Monticello was located and had never been identified. From its beginning in 56 until 1980, the downtown skyline of the city of Cincinnati stood in as Monticello. P&G, which produced the show, was based in Cincinnati, and in later years, the LA skyline replaced that of Cincinnati. The skyline roof was eventually eliminated altogether in the final 2 years of the show, as the word "the" was removed in the title. Now, Edge of Night, again, not for everybody, but here where it drew a lot of interest through the years. During most of the show's run, viewers were treated to an announcer enthusiastically and energetically announcing the show's title, The Edge of Night. Bob Dixon was the first announcer in 56, followed by Herbert Duncan. The two voices most identified with the show, however, were those of Harry Kramer and Hal Sims, who announced until the series ended in 84. The Edge of Night played on more artistic levels than probably any soap opera of its time. It was unique among daytime soaps as that it focused on crime rather than domestic or romantic matters. The police, DAs, and medical examiners of fictional Monticello dealt with a steady onslaught of gangsters, drug dealers, blackmailers, cultists, international spies, corrupt politicians, psychopaths, and murderous debutantes, while at the same time coping with more unusual soap opera problems like courtship, marriage, divorce, child custody, and amnesia. The show's particular focus on crime was recognized in 80 when, in honor of his 25 years on the air, The Edge of Night was given a special Edgar Award of the Mystery Writers of America. The Edge of Night had more prominent male characters than most soap operas and included genuine humorous scripts to balance the heaviness of the show. Now, the Edge of Night characters on the show, Adam and he called all the key ones. We'll talk some of the key ones. Of course, Raven Alexander, Winter Rawson, Jinx Avery, played by Kate Capshaw, the Berman family, Jefferson Brown, Logan Scott, Logan Swift, Draper Scott. Actually, kind of an inside joke, Hugh Campbell, same name as our great coach in Edmonton, but Lois Kibbe, some of the other key actors on the show did some great work. So why the Edge of Night was so big for a lot of people, and you can find out this in many tribute sites and stuff like this. But it was basically very simple plots, but kind of taken from the headlines. You know, the area of the Boston Strangler, you had a whole bunch of murders involved. Now, again, the 30 minutes P&G. Now, there were some talk it was going to go an hour at the end. Now, there was, when it was off the air in the 80s, near the end of the series run came a rather unusual story wherein Mike and Nancy, after sleeping in twin beds for nearly their entire married life, decided to go all out and buy a double bed, thereby retiring to twin beds for good. Kind of an inside joke. Now, uniquely among daytime dramas at the time, The Edge of Night finishes run with an ominous international cliffhanger, revealing that an old enemy, Louis Van Dyne, who had supposedly been sent to the state penitentiary, had returned to settle some scores, and none of the main protagonists were safe. In addition, police detective Chris Egan, played by Jennifer Taylor, spying a supposedly deceased henchman of Van Dyne, Donald Hex, followed Hex into a previously unknown Monticello street called Wonderland Lane. There she discovered Van Dyne's sister, Alicia Van Dyne, played by Chris Weatherhead, in a shop. Alicia's brother viciously stabbed her in the back. Her allegedly dying words to Chris Egan were, off with her head. Egan barely escaped from the shop after Van Dyne and Hex attempted to capture her and ran out of Wonderland Lane, briefly falling by the post next to the street sign, a stuffed white rabbit propped against it. The final scene in the series is of Chris Egan telling Mike Carr and others of her encounter with Lois Van Dyne and Donald Hex. In addition to Alicia Van Dyne's stabbing, the show's theme plays over the dialogue, masking Carr's words, but the audience is left to know that the story of Monticello continues onward, albeit off the air. The reason for the cliffhanger was that P&G believed that they could find another network to take over production of The Edge of Night, or possibly continue the show in first-run syndication, but in '84 there was no cable networks willing to take on such an expensive endeavor. And of course, at the time, All My Children was strong, One Life to Live was strong, General Hospital was strong, Another World was strong. There was no need for the show to continue. It had built a great audience over the years, but by 1984, with ABC looking more for higher ratings, by fall of that year, it was only on 106 of the 213 ABC affiliates. A further 2 dozen affiliates planned to drop the series in the first quarter of '85, with many station managers doing so because they wanted local or syndicated shows to take that time slot at 4 p.m., which is 5 p.m. in Canada. Although ABC intended to continue Edge of Night, even offering to move to mid-morning time slot, P&G could no longer afford to continue producing the show due to the constant loss of revenue from frequent preemptions. Thus, on October 26, '84, ABC and Procter & Gamble made a joint announcement that the final telecast of Edge of Night, whose title had been shortened to 3 words, would take place on December 28th of that year. To this point, the show's ratings were less than half of what they were at the beginning of the decade. At the end of the '85 television season, it finished last in the daytime's ratings with a 2.6 in only 4 months of episodes. Now, to date, The Edge of Night is the last regularly scheduled ABC network program to air at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. Canadian. ABC returned a half-hour slot to affiliates after The Edge of Night finished its run. ABC had done this in '77, while CBS, which programmed a 4 p.m. time slot with body language when The Edge of Night left the air, followed suit in September '86 after canceling Pressure Luck a month prior. Now, this was pretty well the death knell for the soaps at the time. It was called the death slot. This had a major impact on first-run syndication market as ABC affiliates sought new programming to fill the open time slot in the midst of the '85 television season. Now, the Edge of Night cancellation opened the door for ABC's New Yorkshire flagship, WABC, to take advantage of King World taking over the slot with Jeopardy, and caused Jeopardy go from overnight to daytime. So the idea of an Edge Night getting canceled, that's why Jeopardy's become popular. Now, it did push in many markets these 7 p.m. Broadcasts ahead by half an hour and reduce the length of the 6 p.m. newscast on the local affiliates. Now, as of 2021, the 4 p.m. time slot was largely filled by local newscasts on most major network affiliates, including most of ABC's owned and operated stations since the conclusion of Oprah in 2011. So So nobody's really taken over that, 4 p.m. American, 5 p.m. Canada time slot, or Eastern Canada, sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's the legacy of Edge of Night? Well, I know for a fact that in New Brunswick, a lot of people named their children after characters of the Edge of Night, especially kids born in the mid-70s. I think the shift from live to ABC, which was live, it was fun watching Edge of Night because just like Dark Shadows, every great scene and every mistake was just there up on the screen. It was well put together. But the idea of the different plots, you had a lot of realism in the show. It felt like, a pulp novel, but without the heavy sex. There was some petting and some, weird configurations, but it was where it was. It was very well done. And like I said, it went so quick. It came across again like one very famous Canadian critic said, maybe Canada got the show more than the States because Edge of Night was a very cerebral show. You couldn't be stupid to watch that show. So overall, the show brought a lot of memories. But back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, the mid-70s, before to the late 70s, early 80s, you had that, Price is Right, Gong Show, All My Children, later General Hospital, Another World, We Were Blessed, Take 30, all the great shows. So, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people do miss Edge of Night now. I think, if I'm not mistaken, repeats of the show ended up on some CBS affiliates through the years. I could be wrong. If somebody wants to back this up with me, I do know that Edge of Night was syndicated for a little while, maybe USA Network or something like that, like it's a filler, but it is what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the show was in the heavy arcs. It wasn't, the plot didn't make any sense. It would take literally weeks and months, just like a good detective story, but the Perry Mason influence is there. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of the Edge of Night. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, if you have your favorite soap opera requests, let us know. We like doing podcasts on some of the vintage memories of when every time you watch a show, it reminded you to do your clothes. If that makes any sense. Or to clean your floor. Have a good one. Bye.